Thank you for joining us for another episode of Cryptocurrent. Just one quick reminder. Cryptocurrent is a cryptocurrency and blockchain education platform that's bridging the gap between the curious newcomers who are just discovering the space and the thought leaders who are shaping its future. All opinions expressed by Richard Carthon, the Cryptocurrent team, and their guests on this show are exclusively their own opinions. You should not treat any opinion expressed by Richard, the team, and their guests as a specific inducement to make a particular investment or to follow his financial advice. This show and any other Cryptocurrent production is exclusively for informational purposes.
Hey everyone, welcome to another episode of Cryptocurrent. Your host here, Richard Carthon. And today I have a really special guest all the way out in the Bay Area who recently was at Consensus. Unfortunately, didn't get the chance to meet in person, but was glad to at least be in the same facility as Consensus was a really solid conference that we both got to attend. We have Linda, who is the head of ecosystem at Oasis. How are you doing today?
I'm doing great. Thank you so much for inviting me to your show, Richard. I really appreciate it. I'm sorry we missed each other in Austin. Hope you had fun. I had tons of fun.
Oh, I had a great time. Hopefully next time you come, it won't be in the dead of heat of the summer. But I know that next time I go out to the Bay, I'll make sure to reach out as well. So hopefully we can connect that way. But I know I'm excited to learn more about everything you have going on over at Oasis. Can you just give us a little bit of more information and background on yourself?
For sure. Yeah. So my name is Linda. I'm head of ecosystem at Oasis. At Oasis, I manage cross-functional teams of product, marketing, community, business development. It's a lot of work, but I enjoy it. It's like a steep learning curve every day. And I've been with the company for over 2.5 years now. And I can see the learning curve is getting steeper and steeper. And it's quite unusual, to be honest, because after you've been with the company for like a while, this kind of like learning curve is kind of plateau. But I think I just got very lucky because this industry just like, it never stops. It's like there's just so many new things popping up and so many new developments, technology-wise, go-to-market-wise, applications-wise. There's just so much to learn and digest every day. So very happy about it, very happy about being in the industry, and very happy about learning new things every day.
For sure. So what was your first introduction into the Web3 space? Like, when did you first hear about it? And then what made you want to decide to enter this industry with Oasis?
Yeah. So a little about myself. So before blockchain, I was primarily in finance and investment. My first job was like long equity fund. And then I moved over to hedge fund. And then I moved over to early stage VC. It was actually in VC when I got massively exposed to blockchain. Because I think it was late 2017 and 2018 where I started to meet quite a few crypto and protocol blockchain founders. And it was, at that time, I remember the deals I look at, they were just drastically different from your typical equity deal. And the terms are different. It's a token deal versus the equity deals and everything. And the way founders talk about their vision is also very different. And from a software developer tool, a project or something. And then usually at that time, I remember when found the typical equity deal, they would with the pitch deck and everything. And the crypto is, let's start with a white paper. And so that's very different. And it just really got me interested. And in terms of Web3 specifically, I really have to owe it to our founder, Professor Dong Song, founder of Oasis. So it was like, I was listening to her talk, and then she talked about why she started Oasis, this kind of building the responsible data economy, and make sure everyone has data rights and everything. I think that's it hit me pretty hard in the sense that it really resonated with me in the sense that it's the first time I started to think about, the current way, like how we transact data, where like the owner's data are not necessarily being involved in the whole value chain. Just because things, are the way they are, the way they have been, does that mean that that's a sustainable approach and solution for the foreseeable future? Probably not. So that kind of, I started to have a question mark around what that means, what ownership means. And after several conversations with her, and we kept in touch, and then eventually she I really resonate with the vision Oasis has, and then I joined the team in 2019, and I really enjoy the work here.
Yeah, so let's stay there. So you come from a traditional finance background, working in a lot of things from hedge funds to venture funds to now being in the age of Web3. And after having multiple conversations, speaking with the founder of Oasis, what was it about the mission of Oasis that made you want to be like, okay, this is the company that I want to work for? So tell us a little about what is Oasis and what is the mission that y'all are going after?
Yeah, for sure. So in a nutshell, Oasis is a leading privacy-enabled, scalable proof-of-stake layer-1 blockchain network. So we are highly scalable. We provide low gas fees and very secure. And we're actually the first to propose and build this kind of like modular architecture design, in a sense that we separate execution from consensus. So if you look around like Ethereum, they do everything, execution and consensus at the same layer. And now you have layer 2 Ethereum solution and everything. But Oasis, we realize this kind of issue to be able to scale and solve other issues. It's important to have this kind of modular architecture, this layer architecture, where we have the consensus layer. On top of that, we have the compute layer. And the compute layer is where things get interesting. It also is something very unique about Oasis, that we can be very versatile, in the sense that if you look around the Web3, the common competition in the industry right now is primarily EVM compatibility, like EVM compatible in the Solidity environment. And you have DeFi, NFT, crypto gaming. Certain part of gaming is on chain, certain part is off chain. It's like it's still very
And real
niche.
quick for the audience out there, EVM is Ethereum Virtual Machine. So basically something that can connect back to the Ethereum ecosystem.
Thank you so much, Richard, for the context. Appreciate it. But as the industry continues to evolve, especially like if our vision is, Web3, it's not just the small, like compared to Web2, it's still very like small, tiny fraction, right? If our vision is to continue to move forward Web3, we need more compute demands in the sense that they're going to be, just as you have in Web2, you have wide spectrum of compute demands. And as we move forward with Web3, you need a platform to cater to different types of a compute demand that's go way beyond just the EVM compatibility. So that's why Oasis is best positioned to solve those issues, in the sense that we are very versatile. We have a compute layer called parallel runtime, short for pair time. So we have EVM compatible pair time. We also have WebAssembly, confidentiality enable. We're actually about to launch confidential EVM pair time, and there'll be more. And obviously the platform is decentralized, so we're open to third-party building pair times as they continue to see industry evolve and each pair time is built to cater specific compute demands as the industry continues to grow and develop. So that is. I would say definitely, I think we provide a good foundation for building a critical pillar to move Web3 forward, and that's really exciting. Right.
I mean, it's cool to see that y'all are attacking a lot of the challenges that a lot of these other layer 1 protocols are missing, right? And
right.
One element of it, with it being private and scalable for DeFi, of course, you have a lot of these DeFi players that are trying to come in, but you're having both, unfortunately, some security challenges, and you're also having some issues with as they have some success, being able to scale it out. So, and then one of the things you mentioned was the parallel smart contract layers. Can you kind of explain that a little bit more? Because I believe that's something that's very unique to Oasis.
The parallel runtime, paratimes, layers. Yeah. So basically, so currently we have 3 paratimes on the network. So we have EVM compatible paratime. It's called Emerald paratime. That you have a DeFi, NFT, your typical EVM Solidity-based apps there. And then we have another paratime called Cypher, which is WebAssembly based and with confidentiality, privacy-preserving compute enabled. And we also have Parcel paratime, which is the targeting like enterprise applications. And we're about to launch the 4th one, which is confidential EVM paradigm, basically to give Solidity developers opportunity to build privacy dApps in Solidity, because we recognize the industry, the community where the crypto community, developer community are still primarily Solidity based.
Right.
Developers are more into Solidity versus other languages, and we do want to give those developers out there an opportunity to use the language they're familiar with and build privacy layer on top of existing their their application. So that could be like we're talking about in DeFi. So we build DeFi, right? So their DEX, their lending, everything, and but the current DeFi is primarily targeting something like crypto enthusiasts, like traders, like they want to do like margin trading, leverage trading, like borrow more money to do some trades, right? But is that what lending is? Is that just lending? Is that just like the only thing about lending? Lending, we think is supposed to solve some people's real financial issues. Could be your student loan, could be mortgage, and everything. So how can DeFi be part of that real world use cases? Currently, there isn't much besides trading, but that's a good starting point. So to be able to tap into real world use cases, you need like linked with real world identity. Like the DeFi needs to be reputation based, credit based. It cannot just be everything be over collateralized, because if you over collateralization doesn't really solve a problem. You need to have tons of money first, right? Yeah. But the real issue is that you don't really have a lot of money in your portfolio yet. So so make sure it's reputation based, credit based. That also requires privacy technology. So we're building the rails, and we're looking for developers. We have some developers in pipeline, project in pipeline. We're definitely looking for more developers. Like help us kind of like build this together. Like how do we enable reputation, identity, credit-based lending, DeFi in general, to solve some of the real-world financial issues, such as student loan, unbanked, all these issues that people are facing in their day-to-day life.
Consistently, and we've seen some over-collateralized issues that have been happening in the market. For those who are listening to this, you're probably hearing about everything that's happening over at Celsius, and you've also had some other challenges that are coming up. And with this, there's a kind of a consensus around the idea of trying to figure out how can you do not necessarily background checks on people, but like how can you give an online profile to them to align credit towards them, so you can understand like how safe, what risk profiles of the amounts of types of loans that you would give to people using different DeFi protocols. And one of the ways to be able to do this is through security. So you've brought up security quite a few times about Oasis protocol. And if you could take a moment, like how is the security on this different from other layer ones? So for example, like a Ethereum. So how is the security being set up on Oasis to combat against some of these other layer ones?
Yeah, so I think this the layer architecture allow us to be secure, you separate the execution from consensus. So that's this kind of layer approach, I think, by nature allows you to be fairly secure. And each paratime, remember, each runtime is kind of like in its own zone. So they're not really contaminating with one another. They're not, if something happens, one paratime will not affect things on the other paratime. So that allows you kind of like, separate things out, so it will not cause much damage or collateral, or have other things become the collateral damage if something bad happens to one thing happens on a network. So I think these kind of like separate execution from consensus definitely is one way that we stand out in the security kind of arena, and also because of this kind of design, we're able to be very scalable, and because each runtime computation, you run the transaction compute in one paradigm, but in other paradigm they run transactions on their own, which is not necessarily affected by the speed happening on other paradigms. So that allows them to scale as well. And also we talk about this also allows you to target different types of compute demands out there. So it was I would say it's really owing to this modular architecture design, separate execution from consensus. I think that's probably going to be the direction where industry is going.
Yeah, I can see that, and it definitely, again, to your main point of scalability is a big element of this, and to not have it at the same time as consensus really does help to parse out some of the vulnerabilities with a lot of these layer ones. But something that you mentioned earlier, the calling out to developers to come and build on top of Oasis, and how it's being built with Solidity, et cetera. You have the Oasis Foundation. Looks like it has the ability to apply for grants right now. You're looking for people to run nodes. People can be ambassadors on this. Can you kind of talk to us a little bit more about all the different ways that people can get involved with Oasis protocol right now?
Yeah, so we definitely have quite a few programs, and I can walk everyone through it. So I think the first program we launched is the grants program, and we call it Rose Bloom and a grants program. And we target Web3, we target crypto gaming, DeFi, data, like data DAO, responsible data economy, any kind of application related to that area. And so it's been going pretty well. We have a pretty rich kind of like a pipeline there. And second program we have is the ecosystem fund. So we announced last year that at the time it was 160 million, and with quite a few backers being core contributors to the ecosystem fund, such as Electric Capital, Pantera, and NGC, and Jump, and some other big players in the industry as well. And then we just continue to receive overwhelming support from the industry. So early this year, I think that fund size grew from 160 to 235 million now, with Binance Labs joining the fund as well. So we do believe those backers, those contributors, they came in with such a strong industry knowledge and experience. They have seen cycles. They have helped so many developers out there. They have rich portfolio on their own, and help those founders fine-tune their ideas, brainstorm, go to market with them. So we definitely value their value add here. So so this is fun. Same thing, we want developers who are building really interesting Web3 applications. That could be confidential NFT, could be crypto gaming, could be data DAO, any sort of applications decentralized applications that regarding privacy. So basically things that can move Web3 forward from where it is now. Definitely, for entrepreneurs, founders, teams out there, if you are building something very interesting, definitely apply. On our website, we have a designated portals for that. And then we also have a accelerator program. So one was actually about to conclude, which is a joint accelerator program with MetaMinds. And we also recently started another one with DeathRadar, and which was primarily targeting some gaming-related, crypto gaming-related applications. And also have hackathons. We actually recently concluded the Oasis Bloom hackathon, and it was quite successful. We have over 1,000 high quality submissions, and we picked the winners already. And it was on our blog post. Winners out there, you know who you are. So we're going to do more hackathons in the future. So the next phase for Oasis, definitely we want to use the program we currently have and combine with more hackathons in the future to really help people, entrepreneurs who have the vision to build a better data economy, build a better Web3, and find those missing white spaces that haven't been the hard problem haven't been really tackled, and give them some sort of support to allow them to assemble the team and build a product they're passionate about.
For sure. And I mean, those are a lot of really cool programs that you've been able to create to help grow the community, incentivize people to come keep building on Oasis, and again, give them resources to be successful while also being in this, being a part of Oasis. Now, one of the things that we kind of talked about, pre coming on the show that I think is important for us to kind of go through here is how amazing just the Web3 space is and how you think it's going to foundationally change the way the world is headed. So of course we've had, Web 1.0, 2.0, and now we're headed to 3. Can you kind of just talk through how you've seen things evolve over the decades and why Web3 is an incredible space to be a part of?
Yeah, for sure. So definitely a very interesting topic these days. Right. So if we look back in the history, right? Like a Web 1.0 is we started in the 80s and 90s. It's your AOL of the world. You can only read, you can only passively receive information from the web. That's the age where digitize magazines and the newspapers and stuff. That's a good starting point back then. That was definitely a good starting point. And then we moved to Web 2, and then you not only beyond reading, you can write, you can post photos, videos, you can post comments, you can interact with people. You start to contribute on Facebook and YouTube, on TikTok, all these channels, amazing channels. And I think Web3 is about not just being able to read and write and being able to own, because that was not necessarily enabled or empowered in the Web 2 world. Web 2 is primarily you do contribute data, but data transaction, unfortunately, was only happening primarily between some conglomerate, some platform, and the data buyers. That could be ads buyers, could be brands, could be many players in the industry, and we all know that. And we do think data is not just is more than what it is in the Web 2 world. It's actually your digital property, something you own. If it's something you own, does that make sense that you are always being left out from the value chain and not even being invited to the table? So we do think there's something that we could improve here. In the Web3, where I mentioned data DAO, something like that, a couple of times in my earlier, is that data DAO is not just about DAO or anything. It's essentially just to create this kind of governance and incentive kind of mechanism to allow data owners to be part of the value chain. When they share data with data buyers, they can actually be rewarded for their contribution. And the data owners, not just how they want to share their data, such as right now they share data with the platforms, right? And the platforms have all the right in terms of, I want to share this data with some of the top brands in the food and beverage space, let's say Coca-Cola or something. They have the right to choose who to share the data with. But is that the right thing to do? Or can we give this kind of how I want to share my data, give that the option back to the data owners? For instance, I don't want my data to be shared with those brands. I only want my data to share with some university, NGO, medical research institute or something. I want there's a certain vision goal that I want to kind of align with my personal mission and goal and everything. So can I have that right to not only I probably don't even care about being rewarded, but I want my data to be preserved, to be shared with only a wireless organization out there versus just any brands, any institutes out there, right? So I think that is what Web3 is about, in the sense that you own and you have the right to choose how your data is being shared, what that ownership actually means. It's not just about owning an NFT or something. It's about whom I choose to share my data with and how I want them to use my data for. And essentially, hopefully being rewarded for a little bit contribution I do or we do to facilitate some of the bigger mission out there. So so I think that's something just like, it's a really big vision, and I think we're still kind of like getting started to solve this big puzzle, and that would require some like basic technology, right? Like privacy is definitely just like core element of this. Without privacy, like you cannot even get this done because no one will share data. Like we can have Web3, but if we don't have privacy, the data is just out there. It's on the public ledger. I don't think that's what people want, right? So we do think at Oasis, we're building a crypto critical pillar to facilitate this, to support this, move forward in the future. But essentially that's what we are most passionate about is to invite data owners. Basically, first, acknowledge data is actually your digital property. And second, have data owners be back at the table, that they're supposed to be at the table from the get-go. It just we got carried away with Web 2 in many areas, and then hopefully we're back to the value chain soon enough.
Yeah, and I think that you brought up one of the main points of Web 3.0, which is the ownership piece. By being an owner, by being a participant, you can get ownership in the various platforms that you are participating in. And while you drive value to ecosystems, you are rewarded for that value that you're driving by having ownership. And this is, in a lot of ways, is still being like refined out, or even the ability to have more choice, right? To be able to choose where you want to participate in, and then also, benefit by being a contributor to that ecosystem is one of the most exciting things about Web 3.0. So I appreciate you explaining that. Everyone listening, I'd recommend just rewinding that. Linda dropped really good gems in there. And, we're getting close to the end of this conversation, but there's always a couple of questions that I try to bring up that I think you'd be really good to answer. And the first one I have is, now that you've been in this space for 2.5 years, you've seen a bear market before, you've seen also a bull, and now we're back in some bearish territory. With all the information that you have right now, if you could go impart wisdom to yourself when you first got started in the Web3 space, what's something that you would tell yourself?
I will say there are a couple of things. I think, don't be afraid of the bear market. Usually good product was born in the bear market. If we look at DeFi, right? All the broad market was seeing at the time was the, DeFi started in sort of like at the beginning of second half 2020. But people didn't know summer. That. Yeah, Uniswap, Aave, all these are great protocols. They were born when the market was not necessarily that supportive. So and Oasis, our own network, we started in early 2018 when the market was like, I remember there were days and weeks where like Bitcoin dropped to $5,000 or something, right? Like they're just like, good products. Many good products were born when the market was not necessarily very supportive, and so the key is to really kind of like commit to what you're passionate about. So you have to be doing something you're passionate about. That gives you conviction to power you through, weather the storm, and continue believe what you're building, and continue and really kind of like surround yourself with people who share a similar passion with you, so you can give each other courage and support to continue the journey. And and second thing I will say is in the bull market, there are tons of hypes every day. There's just so many news popping out. So I sometimes think that for builders out there, if you really want to, I think it's the humility and the modesty that drive results versus ego, arrogance, those sort of things. Now back to the market, when market is bear market or like less supportive, you will have less news, less hype, and then less distraction. So which is good. Just continue to build your conviction, commit to what you're passionate about, and we're truly passionate about, and cut through the noise, and stay humble, stay open-minded, and believe and in that will eventually drive results.
For sure. And I appreciate those two pieces of advice. You've given us a lot of really good information today, and a lot of tools that people can use to be using the Oasis protocol. But what are ways that people can connect with you and learn more and start joining some of the communities that you have with Oasis?
Yeah, so personally, I use Twitter, and so my Twitter handle is Linda Lu, and then and the 1111 4 ones, and right. So and our community members, our community team are widely available on Telegram, on Discord, on Slack, on Reddit, on just like across a lot of channels. So do follow us. If you go to our website, oasisprotocol.org, you will find all our handles on those channels, and do find us and find our, not just me, but our amazing team members, and continue the conversation with us.
Absolutely. So as we wrap up here, Linda, what is a final thought that you want to leave with each of our listeners today?
Yeah, I think just the bear market is not that scary. So let's have the passion, commit to what you're passionate about, and let's build. And if you're already building, let's continue building, because no one really, we haven't really solved the really hard and big problems yet. And we definitely need more people, more talents to solve those big, hard, difficult problems together with the community.
Absolutely. We can get through this bear market. WAGMI, we're all going to make it. And, for people who have been through this before, we just know that there's pain before you get to the other side of it. And again, as long as you're building and you're playing the long game in the crypto space, you typically come out on the other side okay. So Linda, again, thank you so much for spending some time with us. Thank you for sharing all your amazing knowledge. And of course, for everyone listening, make sure you stay cryptocurrent.